What's up, guys and gals, and welcome to Veve Vibes, where I love talking all things Veve NFTs, speculation, and the market. So I'm going to keep this video kind of quick. We do have a ton of stuff to cover, or else this is going to be a 25-minute video. But I do want to show you guys some NFTs that I think are going to just honestly absolutely explode within a couple of hours after the market opens for the Marvel Mightys thing. I think people are going to be scrambling around to get the Marvel Mighty Spider-Man, get the NFTs they want, and then the second they either complete the set or they secure that Green Goblin or whatever they want, they're going to go shopping and buy other stuff. And I think people are going to want to scoop profits or try and grab things while they're dipping while they can before they start skyrocketing. And this is honestly one of the biggest gem squeezes I think that's happened in a while. It's not as steep as it is the golden moments, but I do think the buying power of just the market in general, because we've had tens of millions of gems being injected into the Veve market every week for the last 2 months. So I do think everything's going to recover very quickly. So if you are going to be buying stuff on the cheap, I would pull the trigger very quickly. I'm talking either like before the Marvel Mightys drop to probably get the best price. If not, get what you want from the Marvel Mighty set and really start making your moves within a couple hours after the market opens, because everything will be skyrocketing at that point, in my opinion. And things have been consolidating. This gem squeeze has been lasting for a little over half a week because the announcement of the Immutable X and the migration took a bit longer. So we actually pushed out the Marvel Mighty's Spider-Man like out another day, which caused the gem squeeze to be even longer. So even it just being later in the afternoon kind of caused the gem squeeze to be a bit longer. So here are some things. And again, I'm saying this is not financial advice, but all the NFTs pretty much across the board are going to go up in price. All of them are going to go up in price. People are going to want to take profits where they can, stack this, buy a few of these, buy the black and white this. I think pretty much any of the black and white Batmans, I mean, they're all so heavily discounted. One that I wanted to kind of point out specifically that I think will do very, very well is the Dick Spring is actually already up quite a bit. Or am I thinking another one? Gary Frank? No, it's the... yeah, Darwin Cook Batman. There was a point last night where he was actually, I think, almost below 200 gems. And this guy had a previous high of about 360 at one point. Same thing with Robin. Robin's a bit higher right now. I probably prefer the Darwin Cook over the Robin personally. Another good one to pick up, in my opinion, as you can see here, Darwin Cook is above, had a previous high multiple times of above 300 or hovering around 300. So I do think that's a good buying point. Same thing with the Jason Fabok Batman. I've been looking at these black and white series NFTs like very, very closely over the last week or so. Jason Fabok did have a high of 800, has had multiple peaks above 650. So I think that's a pretty comfortable purchase at the end of the day. So pretty much any of the black and white series stuff, like whatever you can afford, they're going to go up in price. They're going to do well. Just hodl them for, you know, even a few days after the Marvel Mighty drop. You're going to see a return, at least in my opinion. Another one is just pretty much any of the Spider-Mans. The discount on some of the Spider-Mans just blows my mind. I mean, we have Zombie Hunter Spider-Man at 250, Ultra Rare Zombie Hunter Spider-Man at around $1,000. I think the biggest surprise is Ben Reilly's below 600. These things had a previous high of, I believe, like 900 or so. Even higher than that, 1,100. These things are basically 50% off, so a very, very good pickup here, and especially with the low mints, you might have to deal with less undercutters compared to some other NFTs that have 32,000. You only have 5,000 other people to necessarily worry about. So I think honestly, like any of the Spider-Man NFTs you can afford, whether it's the jump into action one, the hanging upside down, the common, I think the common one is also a very good purchase. I think that thing went down to like 850 at one point. I could see it's already recovering a little bit, but this thing had a previous high of I believe 1,400. Yeah, so again, if you guys just buy these and hodl these, I know the listings are pretty high, but again, it's Marvel. These are going to recover well. People are going to eat away at those total listings in no time. Once they get what they want from the Marvel Mighties, or once they get what they want and they backtrack to the Disney cards, these things are going to recover in no time. I've seen this time and time again. These are going to do very well. Now, kind of the more specific ones, I think one of the NFTs that are getting heavily slept on is the secret rare Deadpool as well as the ultra rare Deadpool. If you can't afford the secret rare, I suggest just piggybacking off the success of the ultra rare. It's still a first appearance Deadpool, and it's actually already increased in price quite a bit. I mean, if you could have picked this up at 2,300, that would have been perfect, but it still has a long way to go from its all-time high of 4,300. I mean, it's peaked above $3,000 a handful of times. So I do think this is a good one, and the listings are still pretty low, which means in my mind, I think people are pretty much hodling in my mind. And honestly, any of the Deadpools at this point are going to do well. It's kind of like the Spider-Mans, just buy what you can afford. But I do think that the ultra rare as well as the secret rare have the most room to grow. I mean, the ultra rare had an all-time high of $1,000. Now it's at 610, so it's pretty heavily discounted. And I think as the secret rare goes up, the kind of value of the ultra rare will kind of just piggyback off of that. I don't think it's going to maintain this exact percentage of like the ratio of price difference, so it might lag behind a bit, but at least if you can't buy the secret rare, I suggest buying the ultra rare as well. Another one that I think is very undervalued, not very undervalued, but I think one that could skyrocket is pretty much like any of the Disney NFTs right now. Like even some of the cards, I do think the cards will see, they already saw somewhat of a secondary pump, but I think we'll see another pump shortly after because people are going to get the Marvel Mightys they want. They might have 10 grand in gems or whatever it is, and they buy the set of the Marvel Mightys, they have what they have, and like they're like, well, I kind of want to go finish my set or go stack some Donald Ducks or whatever it is. So I could see these cards actually doing an additional pump shortly after the Marvel Mightys drop is done. But more importantly, I do think it blows my mind that the Jaunty Jig is actually below 800 gems. Happy Whistles are below 1100 right now. I believe a Jaunty Jig went up to 1300 at one point. Happy Whistle went up to 1800 at one point. So, I mean, both of these NFTs, if you can afford them, I do think the best purchase on the app right now for $1,000 is probably Happy Whistle. Like, if you can afford the extra 65 gems, it's probably Happy Whistle, Steamboat Willie, in my opinion. Sorcerer's Hat, I think it's kind of doing its own thing. I think it's kind of where it needs to be. It will see a pump. I think all the golden moments are going to go up as well shortly after this pump. One of the NFTs that is probably most slept on, and I've been talking about this one for like 3 weeks, probably a month at this point, is Jim Lee Joker. Again, there's 59,000 Batmans, but there's only 7,500 Jim Lee Jokers. I mean, Jokers in general. I mean, there's 1,100 total. But I definitely see this one just springboarding. It's like a coiled spring. I think it's just going to explode at any moment. I mean, it's the FA Joker. Besides Thanos, and only because like the most recent MCU series, I do think Joker's probably the most recognizable villain in the world. I mean, even if you're not even a Marvel, or even if you're not even a DC fan, you know who Joker is. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So, I mean, this thing had a peak of about $2,000 not too long ago. It's kind of been consolidating for quite some time. So I do think this one's going to do very well and recover. Another one that's been slept on, I've almost debated if Superman is even considered a grail, or is it just an extremely high A tier NFT, because it seems to get hit very hard with dips, considering that it's a grail. In my opinion, grails don't get affected this much by dips, but I still think it's a grail. It's probably the lowest tier grail for now, until people recognize it. But I do see this thing potentially exploding and recovering all the way back up to $8,000, maybe even beyond that within the next like week or so. I don't know. But I do see that Superman is considered a grail by many in the community. It's one of the best looking NFTs. And I think when it gets to that point when people got what they want between the Disney cards as well as the Marvel Mightys, I do think people are going to scoop up Superman because it is one of the more affordable grails that's on the market currently. Last but not least, I will say, obviously, all the golden moments in general across the board are going to do very well. We've had a ton of new information coming out about the Disney community, how avid they are, and how most of them haven't, like, there's Discord groups with over 100,000 of these Mickey collectors that love just Mickey and Disney stuff, and they never even heard of NFTs, let alone Veve. And so as we scroll down here, like C3PO and the other ones are doing very well. Obviously, some of the lower price NFTs are already going up, like Wally's at Wally was a bit higher before, but Pizza Planet Truck breaching that 2K mark. Avenger logos probably looks like it's going to do the same. But the two I think that are going to do extremely well and recover probably the best and probably break their previous all-time highs is probably Elsa and Iron Man. I think people have been sleeping on Elsa a lot. She's the most profitable princess that Disney's ever had. It's the first princess of the platform. They did it on purpose. She has the little pen Easter egg thing. There's kind of a lot of things about her that are going her way. I think her, as well as Iron Man, I mean, she had a previous all-time high of 4,200. I think she's going to hit that very easily and potentially even hit like 5,500 in the near future. Same thing with Iron Man. Iron Man, I think, is ridiculously underpriced for 2,500. It's pretty absurd how much it is. So, like, in my opinion, if someone asked me if you want to spend 2,500 gems, I would either say get Iron Man if you just want to get one NFT, or you get you can get like a Steamboat Willie uncommon maybe grab yourself a Wonder Woman or grab a Zombie Hunter Spider-Man Ultra Rare. And in addition to that, you can grab like a Jason Fabok Batman. Like those are all pretty solid. It's like you got a Disney, a DC, and a Marvel. You got one of each, you're set. But if you just want to stick with one NFT, I think Iron Man, FA Iron Man, Golden Moment, even if some Disney fans don't really like Marvel, it's still part of that Golden Moment set. So if someone wants to complete that set, they got to have their Iron Man. So I do think Iron Man and Elsa, I think are going to pull an R2-D2 in the near future. R2-D2 kind of just exploded out of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but I think people just realized the potential of the fan base, or maybe a lot of Star Wars fan got in at this time. But I could definitely see Elsa and Iron Man pulling a stunt like this, where it's down at the low 3,500s and it just jumps up to potentially 5,500, $6,000, $7,000. Who knows? I think what the upper limit is. So again, all the NFTs are going to go up in price within the course of a few hours. May even take a few days for some NFTs to kind of to be profitable from where they were today. But I do think the ones that I mentioned and the series and IPs that I have mentioned are going to do the best and might even surpass the previous all-time highs before and really start running away until the next gem squeeze and the process repeats and repeats and repeats. So yeah, if there's any NFTs you guys feel like I missed, let me know down in the comments below. I know there's some other ones like Wonder Woman and other ones like that I think will do well. But I do think those ones might take a little bit longer than some of the other heroes I mentioned to reach their all-time highs and even surpass them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys take care, and I'll catch you on the flip side.